Testing the mic, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. Testing the mic, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are live at Singapore for the 14th round of Motive Racing's Formula 1 Championship on the Codemasters Formula 1 game here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform. Apologies for the little delay getting the comms up and running. I just had to quickly go and sort something out just before we got on the air, and took a bit longer than I thought it was going to take, so apologies for that, but we're here, and it looks like we've got quite a packed out grid for this one. 17 cars here in this qualifying session, so looks like we've got a couple of reserves in for tonight, as well as our regular drivers such as Joram, Bennett, Lil Greavy, Game for Life, Horatio, Rednas, Mr. Basil, Jaffa Cake, Clarky Boy, Nemvidic, Raki, Polish My Balls making his return tonight, Gravy Splash making a cameo appearance, and we've got DJ Phil in as well, and obviously we've got the regular new additions as well, really. Well, Aldrich Avis, technically a recent addition. We've got Magfire as well, a late stand-in for tonight, and also Derby Bay as well, who's jumped in very late on at the 11th hour here to take part here tonight at Singapore. Message us on Discord asking if he could get involved. Races regularly on a Wednesday and Sunday night over at Excel, and also on a Monday night as well. So good to have Derby Bay making his Motive Racing debut tonight. But we've got 3 minutes left in this qualifying session right now, and Aldrich Avis currently setting the pace. The man who came close to being really challenging at Russia a couple of weeks ago now. It wasn't last week, it was the last round in this championship, but obviously we had to miss last week as it was bonfire night and a lot of people weren't able to make it, so we missed last week. But Aldrich Avis was a big contender a couple of weeks ago on his debut, so he'll be looking to try and build on that. Magfire in second, looks like he's just shading Joram to that P2, that front row start at a minute, but Joram, the championship leader, will be looking to try and get a good start off the line. Let's check the tyres actually and see if Aldrich Avis is on the softs compared to any others on the mediums. Magfire is also on the soft, but Joram is on the mediums, as is Bennett LCFC. And Joram and Bennett, we know, are always very evenly matched around pretty much any circuit, to be honest with you. And those two currently in the, well, actually no, Joram's the only driver on the mediums in the 136s even. He's actually a second clear of Bennett, but Joram there really is doing a hell of a job there to be sat in third place on the medium tyres. As you can see, he's gapped to Bennett, but Joram's definitely going to be in that fight with Aldrich Avis once we get going. 7/10 separating them, but obviously with the tyre differences, that's going to be quite an even match-up between those two. So Aldrich Avis leading this session ahead of Magfire in second, Joram third, Bennett fourth. And we've got Game for Life, was the long-time leader in this championship, but he seems to be slipping away from the top of the leaderboard over the last few rounds. He's currently fifth in the in this qualifying session. He's been dropping down the standings over the last few races. He's had quite a few retirements in the last few rounds. Has jumped in the commentary box with me actually in both of the last two races at Monza and at Russia. So I'm sure he'll be hoping that he manages to stay the distance tonight and doesn't have to come in and do some commentating duties. I'm sure he'll be wanting to keep it out there and do the best that he can, but he's currently fifth in this session. You've got Little Greavy in sixth at the moment. He's just over 2 seconds off of the top time being set by Aldrich Avis. Derby Bay on his outlap, Horatio likewise. You've got Rednas out there at the moment, Mr. Basil in the pits. He's certainly not going to get any better being sat in there, but Jaffa Cake's coming into the pits oh no, he isn't, he just at the last minute there stayed out. Clarky Boy in the pits. You got Nemvidic, Raki, Polish My Balls all out there. Gravy Splash is in the pits. DJ Phil is out there on a lap tonight at this very moment, so we'll be keeping an eye on the papaya of DJ Philly. He's coming in towards the final couple of corners. Can he get himself up ahead of Gravy Splash, maybe even ahead of Nemvidic, Shraki, or Polish My Balls? In towards the last couple of corners comes DJ Phil, this double left-hander onto the start finish straight. Over the line he comes. What is it going to be for DJ Phil? Doesn't improve, stays in P17 for the time being. Aldrich Avis though still your man at the top of the leaderboard, and you got 7/10 back to Magfire and Joram at this point. Those two very close, but Joram, as we know, on the medium tyres is going to have that ace up his sleeve what in the strategy once we get going compared to the top two. As Aldrich Avis is coming towards the end of his outlap, is he going to get round in time to do another lap here? It's going to be actually quite close here as to whether or not he crosses the line in time to do one more lap. 10 seconds on the clock as he's coming in towards the final corner. This double left-hander, it's a fast section of track out onto the start finish straight, and Aldrich Avis does get over the line to start one more lap, so he will get one more flying lap in before the end of this session. The current provisional pole sitter looking to try and rub salt in the wounds and cement his advantage here around the not the Yas Marina, yeah it is, no wait, no, is that, no, Marina Bay. Yas Marina's Abu Dhabi. Marina Bay is Singapore. I always get those two mixed up. Marina Bay, the street circuit in Singapore, and Ultra Cathist on his final run of the session. Magfire, Joram, Bennett, Gamefly fall in the pits. Little Greavy's out there, as is Derby Bay. Nemvidic is currently done for the session. Just Horatio there coming through the middle sector. He looks like he's going pretty slowly. Rednass, Mr. Basil, Jaffa Cake, I think he's done for the session as well, as he's moving out of the way of DJ Phil, who's on a flyer. Maraki is coming through the middle sector of the lap right now. Polish My Balls coming up towards the bridge. You've got Gravy Splash in there, is done for the session. I think he's actually retired from the session completely. And DJ Phil is still on a lap. Let's see what the provisional pole sitter can do on his final run of the session. Let's get the lap data up and see if he's on an improved lap time so far in this session. Let's just get some idea of what he's on at the moment. He's 400ths up coming through the middle sector, so he's currently on a pretty strong lap here. Purple sector times from Aldrich Cavfist. Now, if he could nail this final sector, he might be able to dip into the 135s and completely shatter the morale of not just Joram, but maybe Magfire as well, who's currently sat alongside him on the front row as we speak. In towards the final few corners comes Aldrich Cavfist now, and what is this going to be for the provisional pole sitter here, the man who did such a strong performance at Russia a couple of weeks ago? Can he replicate this kind of form that we saw last time out? And as he comes up towards the line, what is going to be? He goes a 35.8 there from Aldrich Cavfist. That is absolutely astonishing there in the Aston Martin. He's really blazing a trail here tonight, is Aldrich Cavfist. He's really setting the benchmark, almost a second clear of Magfire on the same tyres as him. Joram on the mediums will obviously have that strategic ace up his sleeve, as will Derby Bay. Derby Bay managed to sneak ahead of Bennett just at the end of that session there by a tenth of a second. So close, but Derby Bay just pipping him there to that fourth place. Bennett LCSC round out the top 5 here for the start of this race. Round 14 of the Formula 1 Championship here on the Codemasters Formula 1 game on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 at Motive. It's going to be Aldrich Cavfist taking a very dominant pole position here. Let us know in the comments, guys, who you think is going to take this one. We got a couple of comments coming in on the stream right now. Let's just have a quick little look and see what our fans here at Motive are saying here on the stream. We got Paul Bennett says, "Let's go!" And we got Game for Life says, "This is not my favourite track, so we'll see how fast I'll be." Game for Life sounds like he's not got his hopes up for this one, but fingers crossed he can at least get to the flag this time, as he hasn't had the best of races the last couple of times here at Motive. Pete Bibb in the comments, one of our regulars in the touring cars and project cars, and also the GT4s and ACC, says, "Go, go, go, good luck everyone. Name of the day, Polish My Balls." Yeah, I must admit, I did almost choke when I first saw that name on the screen, which is actually quite ironic, but yeah, it definitely made me chuckle the first time I saw that name in Excel. I remember it was a Wednesday night at Catalonia. I was reading down the names, the first time I ever commentated on Excel, didn't really know much about it. I'd agreed to commentate a few moments before, and literally I just was reading down the names and I just saw Polish My Balls. Definitely gave me a bit of a tiggle. But 30 seconds left until the start of the race, guys, and we're obviously, most of the viewers watching this will be the drivers post-race, but to those of you who are watching live at this very moment, please drop a like on the video, as it really does help us out an enormous amount. If you're watching your friends, your family, or if you're one of the drivers and you want to show any of your friends and family, if you want them to get behind you, give you a bit of support, and hopefully push you on to bigger and better things here on the grid tonight, then be sure to let them know. Having said that, it's a bit late for that now, as we are about to start the formation lap, but you can always retire from the formation lap. Go and share this video, share it with your friends, drop a like, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already, and here we go then. Formation lap is underway, but one man who comes into this on a very sizzling run of form is Joram. He's been taking win after win, he's always up there fighting at the front. Joram has, ever since the British Grand Prix, really, ever since Silverstone, he's been on a really strong run. That was really where Game for Life started to crumble a little bit, as we do see Horatio and Rednass both getting disqualified from the session here on this formation lap. Looks as though Polish My Balls and Gravy Splash did both get back into the session, which is always good. So obviously you want to see drivers who disconnect managing to get in before the start of the race, otherwise it can have catastrophic consequences for their hopes in the race. But those two look like they've got back in. Horatio and Rednass both out of this formation lap, so they'll have to wait for the rest of to come around this lap, and they will obviously line up alongside the rest of them on the grid. But yeah, I'm absolutely stoked for this. Singapore always throws up a few thrills and spills. It's a very tight street circuit, not a Monaco type street circuit. It's actually I'd say that it's a lot more of a racer's circuit. It's much wider than Monaco. There's plenty of spaces to overtake, but having said that though, it's not always the easiest track to overtake. There are opportunities to do so, unlike Monaco, but it's just going to be about getting your car to the finish here. I think that a lot of people will overstep the mark and possibly end up in the barriers. It's about keeping those mistakes to a minimum and keeping yourself out of trouble throughout the course of the 31 laps here. It's going to be a long race here at Singapore. It always is, because it's a slow circuit, but it's not a very long circuit. You do a lot of laps for what it is, considering that the lap round here is quite a long lap, but yet you still do a lot more laps compared to a lot of races. So it really is about keeping yourself focused, keeping that mental energy there all the way until the end of the race. But they're lining up on the grid here. So there's the Alpine of Horatio sat on the left hand side. There's Redknapp on the right, already parked up, and the leaders are just coming into their grid slots right now. So Aldrich Affis lining up on pole, Magfire alongside him on the front row, Joram and Derby Bay on the second row, with Bennett LCFC and Game for Life on the third row, Little Greavy and Nem Vidic on 7th and 8th places on the fourth row. We've got Horatio Redknapp in 9th and 10th, followed by Mr. Basil Jaffa Cake, Clarky Boy in P13 with Raki alongside him, Polish My Balls, Gravy Splash and DJ Phil at the back, as the lights are about to come on here at the Marina Bay for round 14 of Motive Racing's Formula 1 Season 2 here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform. Here we go. Lights are going to be surely coming on in a moment's time. Here we go. They are now on. Aldrich Affis will be taking pole position. Magfire will be looking to try and get a strong start off the line if he can, as the lights are gone and we are underway here. We are racing now, and Aldrich Affis gets a decent start off the line. Magfire slightly bogged down. Joram immediately gets him into turn 1. In the background there, Derby Bay in 4th, just ahead of Bennett LCFC. You got Little Greavy and Game for Life side by side all the way through turns 2 and 3, but Game for Life's got that inside line. Oh, we see Game for Life getting a bit slide, and that's giving Little Greavy the position there up into P6. Nem Vidic sticking to the inside of the Game for Life, can't get it done. Mr. Basil Horatio just behind them. Jaffa Cake and Clarky Boy's getting himself up into 12th place ahead of Polish My Balls. Polish My Balls just dropped back behind Clarky Boy there. Raki Redknapp, DJ Phil and Gravy Splash at the back, and Polish My Balls has been disqualified on the first lap of the race. As we see here, Gravy Splash and DJ Phil side by side. In fact, no, Gravy Splash's AI's in the car. DJ Phil just ghosted through him there. Aldrich Affis leads the race though by 8/10 of a second ahead of Joram. Joram getting the jump on Magfire pretty quickly there. Obviously on his medium tyres, it's important for Joram to make hay while the sun shines, but obviously Aldrich Affis, on the contrary, really needs to make the most of these soft tyres whilst they're still in their window, because hot track temperatures here at Singapore, despite the nighttime conditions, it really does get quite hot around here. So it's going to be about managing those tyres, keeping them in the window. The hard tyres are definitely going to be a strong strategy here, as we see Clarky Boy, DJ Phil and Gravy Splash have all opted for those hard tyres. Earlier on when I was at work with Clarky Boy, we actually spoke about this, and I said to him, hard tyres would be a good shout around here if you can keep them in the window and keep them at operating temperatures, especially if you see a couple of safety cars get thrown into the mix. It could work out, but I will have to see how that one goes. But definitely could be a winning strategy tonight. Mr. Basil and Nem Vidic are both got a Game for Life there, so Game for Life has had a bit of a mistake, didn't see what happened, but he's down to 8th place, or 9th even should I say. He was already behind Little Greavy. He's lost out to Mr. Basil and Nem Vidic. Aldrich Affis leads the race 1.4 seconds. He's pulled out quite a bit at the start here. Joram, Magfire, Derby Bay in 4th. There's Bennett LCFC, Little Greavy, Mr. Basil, Nem Vidic in the background. Has got Game for Life. Hassling in the back of him into turn 1. Not close enough there. Horatio's got Jaffa Cake making a move on the inside, and Jaffa Cake makes that move brilliantly up into turn 1. Lovely move there from Jaffa Cake up into P10. As we see there, we've got Horatio trying to hold off Clarky Boy, but Jaffa Cake putting off an absolute worldie there. As now we've got Horatio trying to come back at him in towards turn 4. Can't get it done. Clarky Boy behind them. Raki's dropping off the back of these guys a little bit. A second and a half behind him in 13th place. He got Redknapp, DJ Phil, Gravy Splash at the back. Bennett trying to hassle Derby Bay. 8/10 between those two. Game for Life trying to come back at Nem Vidic here, as he's had a bit of a scruffy first couple of laps. Game for Life, he needs to keep his head in the game, because he doesn't need another retirement. Oh no, as Mr. Basil loses it. No, not Mr. Basil, sorry, Nem Vidic loses it. He's facing the wrong way, and Nem Vidic gets it spun round back onto the track once again, as DJ Phil's coming up on the scene and swerves to the inside, manages to avoid him, but Nem Vidic there having an absolute horror show. He's going to have damage on the front of that car for sure. Has he still got his front wing? No, he hasn't. That front wing has made a break for it there. And Nem Vidic now has got his work cut out here in this race. Aldrich Affis still leads. Joram in second, 1.2 behind. Still keeping tabs with him despite being on the mediums. Joram's still got the pace. Magfire, Derby Bay. Bennett's still pretty close to Derby Bay at the moment, as the rest of them. Oh no, Game for Life! Game for Life's crashed! And has he retired from the race? I don't know. No, he's still going, but he's got no front wing, and he's going to need to come in and get that repaired at the end of this lap. lap, he'll be hoping that there's a couple of safety cars over the course of this one. Otherwise, he's not going to have much chance in this race. Double waved yellows through sector 2 and 3. That'll be for the front wing of Game for Life being sat stranded in the middle of the track as Joram sets the fastest lap here on lap 2. Gravy Splash also without his... Oh no, he's still got his front wing. Nemvidic hasn't. But drama here in the opening couple of laps at Singapore. And on to lap 3, these guys come. The leaders, Aldrich Affis, Joram, Magfire, Derby Bay and Bennett. LCFC the top 5. Little Greavy not too far off the back of Derby Bay and Bennett. But Bennett's really close on the back of Derby Bay at the moment, looking to try and get himself up into P4 if he can. He's got the podium drivers driving off into the distance a little bit now. So Bennett's got to really get his skates on here as we're on to lap 3. DRS will be available this lap. And you see the rear wing wide open there for the Aston Martin of Bennett. But for the time being, he's not quite close enough to make anything happen. But DRS enabled on this lap will definitely make a few differences over the course of this classification, as we see Raki here, DRS wide open as he's looking to the outside, and wow, Horatio just let him pass there. So Horatio not fighting that very hard at all, and basically just surrendering his 11th place there. Raki up into P11. In the meantime, Derby Bay is still keeping Bennett at bay. 8 tenths between these two as Bennett's really ragging that Aston Martin around in every way that he possibly can. At the moment, he's still tucking in behind him though, as Gelram has really closed up onto the back of Aldrich Affis here. Aldrich Affis started on the soft tyres, set the pole position time by almost a second. Gelram has started on those mediums. We know that the mediums will go a long way here at Singapore. Should be able to do about 14 or 15 laps maybe. The soft would be lucky if they go 10 laps around this track, to be fair, but I'd say 8 or 9 laps maximum for the soft, as Polish My Balls has left the session, obviously down to his retirement very early on in this race. But Joram really putting this pressure here on Aldrich Affis, looking to try and get himself up into the lead of the race, as Joram, obviously we know he's got the medium tyres on, he's got that ace up his sleeve anyway, but he's going to want to try and get that lead. He's going to want to go for track position as early as he possibly can, as these two have gapped Magfire by 2 seconds out the front. Derby Bay running in 4th, still keeping Bennett behind him for the time being. Bennett's been pressurising him for a little while. As you see Little Greavy there in 6th, Mr. Basil P7, Jaffa Kick over the line in 8th place. Bit of a gap back to Clarky Boy, who's got Rednass all over him here. He's coming down the start finish straight. Rednass is now in that slipstream and he's going to look to the inside in towards turn 1. Can he make the move here? Rednass throws one down the inside of Clarky Boy. Clarky Boy gives him the spaces. Rednass is now going to have the inside for turn 3, and it's going to be pretty close here as Clarky Boy's going to try and get the exit out of the corner and try and get a cutback, but Rednass is too alert and alive to that one. Holds the inside line for turn 4, but Clarky Boy's still there, still hassling him. DRS wide open for the Ferrari. The number 29 of Clarky Boy is going to get a good run coming down this section of the track, and he'll have the inside for turn 6. Here we go. Clarky Boy back down the inside, up into 9th place once again. Great racing from these two. Clarky Boy on those hard tyres is giving Rednass on the soft a real run for his money at this point in the race, and it's currently pretty nip and tuck between these two. But Clarky Boy, as he said to me earlier on, that his one weakness is overtaken, and you wouldn't know it by watching him right now. He's really putting on a show here, as Jaffa Cake has had a moment. He's lost his front wing, and Jaffa Cake in a sandwich here between Clarky Boy and Rednass, as we see him trying to get out of the way of Rednass there. Rednass eventually gets through, but that's held him up massively in this battle there with Clarky Boy, as Jaffa Cake now is having all sorts of problems, and that's just knocked his hopes of getting a good result. Oh no, it hasn't knocked his hopes of having a good result on the head, because there's a safety car. So the safety car saves Jaffa Cake blushes, and it's going to bring the whole pack very bunched up here on lap 4 of 31. Still a little bit early, I would say, to try and one stop this race. I reckon that putting the hards on from here probably wouldn't be able to go to the end on the hards at this point, so I don't think that people are going to try and pit and put the hards on. What I'd imagine now is that the drivers are going to put mediums on here and then try and do a 2-stop from this point. So I don't think anybody can one stop. I don't think 25 laps on one set of tyres is possible, even on the hards around Singapore. But we see Magfire in the pits. He's putting the mediums on. Aldrich Affis also putting the mediums on. Mr. Basil is coming into the pits. What do the Williams pit crew do here? As we see, I think pretty much everybody that's coming in is putting the medium tyres on. A couple of softs going on. Rednass has put the soft on, or has he pulled up to his pit garage yet? I don't think he has, you know. No, in he comes. So I think pretty much everybody who's coming into the pits is putting the mediums on. So nobody's going for that long run of putting the hards on and trying to go to the end from here, which you wouldn't expect to. But Clarky Boy is currently the one with the strategy here. I said it earlier on. I called this one very early in the day. I said that the hard tyres, starting on the hards, can actually put you in a really good position around here. I reckon he'll be good to do a one-stop quite comfortably from here. He could probably go to about lap 22, lap 23 on this set of tyres, put the soft on at the end, and he'll be able to absolutely blitz it for the final part of the race. So my eyes on Clarky Boy here in this one. But at the moment, Joram leading the race under safety car, Derby Bay Bennett completing the top three, Clarky Boy 4th with Magfire 5th, then we've got Raki 6th, Ultra Caffist in 7th, followed by Little Greavy, Mr. Basil, Miss DJ Phil completing that top 10, Gravy Splash in 11th place, DJ Phil and Gravy Splash also both on those hard tyres. And you know what? I said that I wasn't expecting anybody to put the hards on and try and go to the end from here, but guess what? Guess who's done it? Horatio and Nem Vidic. So both of those two have put the hard compound on, so they're obviously going to try and go to the end from here. Once we get going at the end of the safety car period, I'd imagine we're probably going to have about a 25 lap run to the end, so barring any more safety cars, which could be unlikely to be fair, but you know, if we don't see any more safety cars, then they're going to have to go a long old stint on those hard tyres, and I don't know if they're up to it, but ultimately, you know, they've made their bed now, so they're just going to have to lie in it. But we see Rednas there has got a head of Gravy Splash under the safety car, a bit of a confusing one there, and he's now surrendered that position once again, so yeah, a bit of an odd one there, but he gives it straight back to him, so fair play. But yeah, not what you expect to see under the safety car. So, coming to the end of lap 5, I reckon we're going to have one more lap under the safety car. We're just waiting on Gravy Splash to join the train. He's got a train of cars behind him, so he needs to pull up. These guys, Gravy Splash, Rednas and Game for Life, need to pull up on the lead pack, and then obviously Jaffa Cake and Horatio not too far behind them. Nemvidic had that pit stop and is a long way behind the leaders. So he really needs to get a move on here, because he's absolutely nowhere near the lead train at the moment. Hopefully he's there, hopefully he's actually driving, hopefully he hasn't put the AI in, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get going once again at the end of this lap 6 of 31, as we said. So 25 laps to go from here, and yeah, let's hope that we can go racing at the end of this lap, because you know, we want to be able to see as much action as we can. It's never much fun watching a load of cars driving behind the safety car. We've got 16 people still left in this race. We've lost one so far, Polish My Balls crashing out very early on. But you know, we've still got plenty of action to savour tonight, and I'm sure that these guys out on track are all going to be pushing pretty hard. Still lots of drivers in with a shout of getting points here in this race. Just got a text off of Polish My Balls saying, "Hi Andy, no idea what's going on. I tried to take control when red lights went. I tried to take control and it just put me in spectator, and all spectators controls just went, and I'm just watching instead." That's a bit strange. I don't know why that's happened, to be honest, mate. That's don't really understand that one, but that really does obviously suck for Polish My Balls, and it's a shame to see him retire from the race so early on. One of the regulars in XL also has joined us here at Motive over the course of this season, was making his return tonight. He wasn't able to race the last few races. He wasn't able to race recently just because of his internet, but he joined back tonight, and I was thinking he might be able to really come back and announce his arrival in the best possible style, but it's not gone to plan at all for Polish My Balls. Polish My Balls is a driver who I always remember for his incredible win at Hungary in XL. It was just the most craziest race imaginable, safety car after safety car, absolute carnage all over the place. I just remember Polish My Balls eventually got the win down to a penalty, I think it was, for Bennett at the end. It was a really, really exciting race, and ultimately Polish My Balls I'll always be, my fondest memory of him will always be that race, just because he won the race, and like, he was never even in the picture for the win, you know what I mean? He was about 5-10 seconds off the pace, and he was, well, not off the pace, but you know what I mean, he wasn't, I hadn't even considered that he could win the race, and then all of a sudden, end of the race, Bennett's got a penalty, boom, Polish My Balls is the race winner. Where did that come from? But it was great to watch that race, and it really was a testament to his never say die attitude that he was there at the end. But here we go, I think we're about to go racing once again anyway, as we're coming out of the last corner here to start lap 7. Just 25 laps left to go. Joam has already completely left him for dead here. Derby Bay Bennett there in third. Clarky Boy has got heavy pressure from Magfire into turn 1. Game for Life's retired from the race. I'm doing the comms in game chat at the moment, so I'll have to jump into a party maybe, and if he wants to do the comms. But we've got Clarky Boy dropping back a little bit there, loses a couple of places there to Magfire and Ultra Catfist. Clarky Boy having a bit of a sketchy start there. He's obviously on those hard hard tyres, which he's hoping to go long on in this race. Jaffa Cake's got ahead of Rednass up into 11th place there. Beautifully done. But is he gonna be able to hold it? Oh no! Jaffa Cake's lost it. The second time in this race that Jaffa Cake's been there. He's now missing his front wing. That has gone horribly wrong there for Jaffa Cake. He's gonna have to come in at the end of this lap and get that sorted out. That does not look healthy at all. And in fact, he has now deliberately crashed out of the race. And could that be another safety car here? I really hope it's not another safety car, but I wouldn't be surprised. Game for Life and Jaffa Cake both crashing out on the restart. So those guys clearly not in a mood to race tonight. Double wave yellows through Sector 2. Thus far, no safety car. Magfire there is on the back of Derby Bay as they're coming side by side in towards this part of the track. I think they're all on Delta at the moment, so they're not all able to push as much as they would ideally like to be. But Magfire there getting ahead of Derby Bay up into 3rd place. Aldrich Avis there just behind, as we've got Little Greavy in the background trying to get involved in this action. Aldrich Avis back up the inside of Derby Bay. Oh, close racing here, as we see there he's managed to squeeze back through ahead of him up into 4th. Derby Bay's now got Little Greavy all over the back of him. Clarky Boy has dropped back since this restart. He's got Mr. Basil in hot pursuit here. 4 tenths between these two as they're coming in towards the final couple of corners, about to complete lap 8. Joe Ramno leads the race by over 2 seconds to Bennett. Bennett, though, has done a good job here in this one. Has managed to get himself ahead of Magfire and Aldrich Avis, as obviously the race leader was Aldrich Avis before the safety car. He took the opportunity to come in and put some medium tyres on, which could be a decent strategy here. I'm sure he'll be able to put the softs on at the end. But we see Mr. Basil there getting ahead of Clarky Boy up into P7 there. So Mr. Basil made up a position. We've got Derby Bay in the foreground there with Little Greavy just behind. Game for Life says, can I join in the box? Yeah, of course, mate. When we get a chance, I'll throw up a party, chap, and I'll get you straight into it as soon as we can. Just don't want to do it in the middle of the action. But we got Aldrich Avis pretty close on the back of Bennett LCFC here. He's looking to the outside, and Aldrich Avis is waved through, so Bennett really not fighting that one at all. Aldrich Avis gets himself up into a podium spot for the time being. Joram still leads this race and is putting out the gap to Magfire, but Bennett LCFC's dropped 2 positions here on this lap. It drops behind Magfire and Aldrich Avis here on lap 8, so it's not gone to plan at all for Bennett so far on this lap. Derby Bay, Little Greavy running just behind Mr. Basil, 2.5 seconds behind, having got ahead of Clarky Boy. Clarky Boy, as we know, has got those hard tyres on, which are going to go very long into this race, so he just needs to keep calm, stay composed, because he's currently in a really good position right now. He's only 6 or 7 seconds off for the lead, and he's basically got a pit stop in hand over these drivers, so he just needs to stay where he is and keep cool. This race will come to him. He'll be able to put the soft tyres on at the end of this race. We've got Rednass there in 9th place on the mediums. Horatio obviously put the hards on during the safety car. DJ Phil likewise has had those hards on since the start. DJ Fildo really pressuring the back of Horatio here. 4 tenths of a second is the gap between those two. Also Aldrich Avis on the back of Magfire in the battle for second. Derby Bay still on the back of Bennett. Has got Little Greavy being dragged along with him though, as Little Greavy's trying to find an opening here on Derby Bay. Can he get the run out of turn 3? If he can get some good traction here, he might be able to get the run up in towards 4 as he cuts back there. Oh, great move there. Oh my goodness me, that was so close to a fantastic move up the inside there from Little Greavy. I thought he might have been able to get that one done. That was a really exciting little feint there as he looked to go to the outside and then cut back to the inside. He's now looking to try and make the move in towards turn 6. Derby Bay holds onto that one for the time being. Bit of twitch there from Little Greavy as he got onto the power, as he's trying his absolute damnedest to get up into P5, as he's probably experienced a little bit of front end loss there, as Mr. Basil there running 2 seconds behind him in 7th place, as gap Clarky Boy a bit at 4 seconds between those two, but Clarky Boy's got a big gap back to Rednass running in 9th place, as the rest of them are kind of spread out a little bit, but the gap at the front is coming down. Joram, Magfire and Aldrich Avis looking like they're pretty much tied at the hip here. Joram's done a few laps on those medium tyres. He started on those, let's not forget that. So it's going to be about keeping these in the optimum range, but Magfire and Aldrich Avis will probably have a slight pace advantage here, seeing as they've got much fresher rubber on their cars, and they are now really trying to find a way through here ahead of Joram. Joram holding on for dear life at the moment, the championship leader, the man who's on a run of wins here at Motive, looking to take another win here on the streets of Singapore. But Magfire and Aldrich Affist are going to push him all the way. Bennett LCFC running in 4th place, a little way off of these top 3 fighting for the podiums. Has got Little Greavy and Derby Bay just behind him. Mr. Basil's closing on these guys a little bit. Mr. Basil's done really well here tonight. He's got some solid pace around Singapore. I mean, he's pretty good around everywhere, but Mr. Basil seems to be really excelling tonight as we see Bennett LCFC into the pits at the end of lap 9. So he's going to probably put up, maybe he's put the hards on. No, puts the mediums on. So presumably he's going to be 2 stopping in this one. He'll be needing to put a set of softs on probably towards the tail end of the race. So Bennett LCFC off and on his way. And this is where I said, this is where I hinted that Clarky Boy would have a strong strategy here, because Bennett LCFC has got to obviously pit again before the end of this race. And you've got drivers like Clarky Boy running in P7, who obviously has to pit again as well. He has to make his 1 stop because he's on the hards. But he's come out, he's come out about 10 seconds clear of Bennett, so he's really played himself in with a great shout in this race. Bennett was up there in P4 before the pit stop, so you know, it shows what a good strategy it is to start on the hards around this track, as we see DJ Phil getting ahead of Raki there up into P10. Raki there losing out. Oh no, Raki's off the track, he's on the runoff area. What's happened there? Raki having an absolute mare as he gets it going once again, but that's gone horribly wrong as we see Aldrich Affist and Magfire on the timing board very close, and they're rubbing wheels, they're leading on each other in a bit, and Aldrich Affist squeezing around Magfire just about. Oh, Magfire's lost it and bins it into the wall. Oh no, oh my god, what's he doing? Oh my god, Magfire there. Oh, the way he was rejoining the track was just absolutely dangerous as anything, and he gets it going once again, but he loses out there. Oh my god, Magfire, please, why are you doing this to me? But he loses out to Little Greavy, Derby Bay and Mr. Basil there. Magfire down to P6 in this race. Horatio still running in 8th place. It's got half a second back to red, and that's he's 7 seconds behind Clarky Boy at the moment. Double wave yellows through sector 1, and sector 3 even, and Magfire's out. Oh, he's retired, and we've got another safety car here. Lap 10 of 31. Oh, what does everyone do now? You know what, I reckon it's going to be hard tyres galore. Maybe Clarky Boy and DJ Phil need to come in and box at the end of this lap for another set of hard tyres. I reckon everybody's going to be putting on fresh hards. Problem is that there's a couple of drivers who started on the hards. Clarky Boy, DJ Phil and Gravy Splash all started on the hard tyres. I really don't know what the strategy is going to be now. Horatio's put the soft tyres on, so Horatio's gambling on the soft tyres being the option here. He's gambling on another safety car, I presume. He's probably hoping that there will be more crashes throughout the course of this race. So Horatio clearly thinks that there will be more safety cars throughout the course of this race. So we see the safety car just waiting to pick up the lead of Joram there. And Joram's coming through, or he hasn't even finished the lap yet, so he's nowhere near the safety car at the moment. But there's a lot of drivers coming in at the moment, obviously, as the safety cars just come out. So Bennett LCFC, Horatio, DJ Phil, Raki have all been in. Nobody else has come in yet, as I think most of the drivers weren't near the pit lane at the time. But Horatio putting those soft tyres on is a real gamble. You know, when you consider the fact that you can't go anywhere near the end of the race on the soft tyres from here. But it could work out. Possibly it might turn out to be a bit of a masterstroke if he can, if there is another safety car, and if we see more crashes throughout the course of this race, and we see more situations like this, then maybe that could be an inspired choice from Horatio. If he can put another set of softs on, maybe 10 laps from the end or something, who knows what we might see, as we do see the race leader Joram into the box, and off and away he goes once again. He's put the medium tyres on as Joram. Little Greavy, what's he going to put on here? He's going to put on another set of mediums as well. Aldrich Affist, Derby Bay and Clarky Boy all in the pits. Aldrich Affist has put the hards on. Derby Bay's done the same, and Clarky Boy's gone for the mediums. Medium tyres on for Clarky Boy will emerge in P7. Now, big question here. With the number of safety cars that we're seeing, would the obvious strategy be to put the softs on and do a short stint, gamble on more safety cars, or because of the number of safety cars that we're seeing, do you try and put the mediums on and try and stretch them because obviously a set of mediums will go 14 or 15 laps, maybe a bit less around this track, maybe not even 12 laps, but certainly under a couple of safety cars you might be able to go a good 15, 16 laps on the mediums. If there are more safety cars throughout the course of this race, let's remember we're only just over a third of the way through this race and we've already had 3, so I don't know, maybe these drivers are going to put the mediums on and try and make those mediums last all the way to the flag, with it being that a lot of the race is going to be spent under the safety car, so they're not going to be at racing speeds and they're not going to be taking the life out of their tyres in the same way that they would be at racing speeds, obviously. So I don't know, we are going to have to keep our eyes on this, but this could be a very exciting strategy as it develops. But right now we've got Mr. Basil leading the race, opted not to come in. He's got the track position on Joram. Joram's got much fresher tyres, those 6-lap fresher medium tyres. Redknapp also opted not to pit for track position up into P3. Little Greavy came in, did the same strategy as Joram, put the mediums on. Aldrich Avfist has got the hards on, so Aldrich Avfist can 100% go to the end without a doubt. Bennett LCFC on the mediums, similar strategy to Joram, or same strategy as Joram and Little Greavy. Derby Bay on the hard tyres can easily go to the end. Clarky Boys on the same strategy as Joram, Little Greavy and Bennett. And Horatio, very audacious, putting the soft tyres on. As we said, probably banking on a couple of safety cars before the end of this race. Gravy Splash running on the hard tyres, which he started the race on, still hasn't been in. Nemvidic running in P11 on slightly running medium tyres. You've got DJ Phil still on the mediums and Raki rounding out the field at the moment in P13 on those medium tyres. So Raki obviously running on fresh rubber with those mediums as well. Maybe going to try and go to the end. We're going to have to keep our eyes on this. But let's get Game for Life in anyway. Let's throw up a party chat. I did say I would once I got an opportunity. So safety cars, as good an opportunity as any. We've got the kid Frimmy. Oh, Frimpong. No way, you're not Frimpong. Saying there that he got a drive-through penalty for nothing. I think it said on the screen for me. It said on the race control bit that it was for speeding in the pits. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what exactly went on there, but it said it was no, not speeding in the pits. It was what was it? Speeding. What was? Starting up a party with Game for Life. Right, so hopefully we'll be able to get Game for Life in the box and have a little chat with him throughout the course of this race. So safety cars coming in at the end of this lap. Mr. Basil still has the lead here under this safety car. We've got 18 laps to go after this one. Joram running in P2, Redknapp third, Little Greavy fourth, with Aldrich Avfist in fifth place on those hard tyres, can easily go to the end from here. Bennett LCFC in sixth, Derby Bay seventh, Clarky Boy eighth, Horatio ninth, Gravy Splashed in 10th, Nemvidic 11th, DJ Phil 12th, Raki 13th, and Magfire, Jaffa Cake, Game for Life and Polish Rebels all retired from the race in the early stages of this race. We've got Game for Life in the box with us right now. Hello buddy. Again, not the race you'd have been hoping for. Nope. We were just about to restart here. The safety car's just peeling off, so Mr. Basil puts his foot to the floor and we are once again racing. It looks like a bit of a concertina behind him though, as Joram's really all over the back of him now, and we got Redknapp here defending to the inside, as look at that, Aldrich Avfist goes clean around the outside. What a move there from him. Little Greavy there in fourth place, Bennett just behind with Redknapp. Clarky Boy's got a position ahead of Derby Bay, but Derby Bay's holding it on the exit of the corner and manages to get a position back up into seventh place. Horatio there just behind, but Clarky Boy looking to try and get back up the inside of Derby Bay there, can't do it. Nemvidic Nemvedic there getting ahead of Gravy Splash up into P10 as DJ Phil and Raki rounding out the field. Mr. Basil though has got heavy pressure from Joram looking to the outside, coming in towards turn 6, and Joram's going to put it on the outside and just about keeps it within track limits there. That was pretty close, but he's going to have the inside there for 7. A great move there from Joram up into the lead of the race. Aldrich Affis there queuing up behind Mr. Basil, can't get it done behind him as Little Greavy's tucking in behind for the time being. Mr. Bennett there running in 5th place for Ednas Derby Bay. Horatio Nemvedic with DJ Phil behind him in P10. Gravy Splash, Raki and Clarky Boy's had a horror show of a restart. He's down to 13th place here. Straight away, he obviously came in for that drive-through during that safety car period. He's down to P13. That could not have got much worse there for Clarky Boy. What an absolute shame there for Clarky Boy as he's down to 13th in this race. Joram's already pulled out a 2-second lead as Aldrich Affis gets himself ahead of Mr. Basil up into 2nd place. Little Greavy just behind with Bennett pretty close. As we can see, there's in the foreground there, Mr. Basil's got Little Greavy making a move up his inside. Is he going to be able to complete that move? Mr. Basil's just run him out of road there, trying to squeeze him off if he can. And Little Greavy can't get it done. Mr. Basil holding on, and Little Greavy's now finding himself open to an attack from Bennett as Bennett tries to go around the outside. Little Greavy covers that one off for the time being. Rednass and Derby Bay still running just behind them as Horatio Nemvedic running 8th and 9th places. Bit of a gap back to DJ Phil riding in P10, but we've got a train of cars here behind Mr. Basil, all trying to line themselves up and get themselves track position as Little Greavy out of the last. Quite a big slide from Little Greavy. Oh my goodness, how has he saved that? That was incredible stuff. Game for life. Did you see that? Little Greavy somehow kept onto the car there. I don't know how he managed to hold on to that, but Bennett gets headed up into 4th place. Little Greavy living on an absolute knife's edge there. But Joram still leads this race at the moment by 3 seconds over Aldrich Affis. Mr. Basil dropping off at the back, and he's got a train of cars queuing up behind him here. No DRS until the 3rd lap of the restart, so we won't be seeing any rear wings going wide open just at the moment. But Mr. Basil keeping Bennett behind him for the time being. Bennett has in the back of him, looking for any way through if he can. Little Greavy there running in P5. Rednass in 6th with Derby Bay in hot pursuit. Horatio Nemvedic, DJ Phil there completing that top 10. Raki just behind with Gravy Splash. Clarky Boy has had to come into the pits for that drive through, and he's a long way off of the rest of the pack now. It's going to be playing catch up here for Clarky Boy in the rest of this race. Lap 15 of 31, still over half of it left to go though, as Joram leads by 3.6 ahead of Aldrich Affis. Aldrich Affis on worn out hard tyres there in 2nd place. Mr. Basil's got heavy pressure from Bennett LCFC as he's still looking to try and find a way through. Mr. Basil's done a really good job, a really impressive defensive drive over these last few laps. Yeah, we see Raki there has made the move up into P10 around the outside. DJ Phil didn't look, he fought that one too hard. Mr. Basil's still keeping Bennett, and now Little Greavy's making a move on Bennett here. Can he make this stick up the inside? Oh, Bennett just about holding it around the outside, gave him the car's width on the inside, which Little Greavy opted not to take and tucks in for the time being. Derby Bay is all over the back of Rednass, and Horatio's pretty close to them as well. Half a second between these three. 6th, 7th and 8th places on lap 16 of the race. Joram's completed his 15th lap, is on to lap 16. 4 seconds is his gap at the moment over Aldrich Affis as we see Bennett LCFC looking to the inside and towards turn 1 on Mr. Basil. Still can't get it done. Little Greavy just tucking in behind for the time being, watching this thing unfold as we've got Horatio making the move on Derby Bay up into turn 1. Nicely done from Horatio up into 7th place. Derby Bay and Nemvedic just behind, just Nemvedic trying to feast on these scraps if he can. DJ Phil still in the back of Raki though, only 9 tenths between those two, so DJ Phil hasn't given up on that battle just yet. Joram though leads by 4 seconds here as he seems to have a pretty comfortable gap here at the front. Bennett's got ahead of Mr. Basil up into 3rd place. He's onto the podium spot, so Mr. Basil now getting absolutely swamped here as Little Greavy's trying to go around the outside, and Little Greavy going to manage to get the move done there, so Mr. Basil losing out 2 positions in the space of a couple of corners, not what he wanted at all there. Oh, we got Rednass here trying to keep Horatio at bay. Derby Bay has just dropped off of Horatio a little bit coming through that section of the track as Nemvedic is running just behind these at the moment, but Little Greavy still keeping Bennett honest. Both of these two having got ahead of Mr. Basil a few moments ago up into 3rd and 4th places. They're battling it out for the final podium spot. They've really dropped off at the back of Aldrich Affis, and Joram's just in his own postcode at the moment. But saying that, Aldrich Affis over this last lap or so has started to stop the rot a little bit. He's not losing as much time to Joram as he was before, and the gap 3.7 at the moment as he's coming out of the last corner here to complete his 16th lap of the race. To the 5 people watching this stream at the moment, big thank you. If you're obviously, most of the people watching this stream will be the drivers afterwards, but appreciate the guys who are watching this live as it goes on. If you any of the drivers out on track are your mates or are your friends or family or whatever, chime in, say hello and tell us who you're supporting here tonight. But we've still got Joram leading this race by 3.8. Little Greavy still has in the back of Bennett. Still got Horatio pretty close to the back of Rednass. Derby Bay just in tow with Nemvidic not too far behind them. That's a 4-car train there for 5th place. Mr. Basil's done a good defensive job since that restart, and it's had cars all over his mirrors pretty much since the get-go of this restart. Clarky Boy's got himself up into 12th. He's got ahead of Gravy Splash there. Nicely done from Clarky Boy. 2 Ferraris batting it out over P12. It's going to be a recovery drive for Clarky Boy, and I'm sure he's sat there praying for a safety car at this point. But Mr. Basil, Rednass, Horatio, Derby Bay and Nemvidic currently giving it some for 5th here. 5 cars battling out for this position. Little Greavy within 0.4 of a second of Bennett LCFC right now, trying to get himself onto the podium if he can. 6 people watching, guys, drop a like on the video if you're enjoying the stream at the moment, as it really helps us out. Subscribe to the Motive channel if you haven't already, as Little Greavy has been pretty much close to Bennett for the last few laps. Hasn't really been able to find an opening. Both of these two were stuck behind Mr. Basil for a couple of laps. They both eventually found their way through within a couple of corners of each other, and at this point Little Greavy's just attempting to get himself onto the podium spots, but it's proving a little bit challenging at the moment. We've got Rednass with Horatio just behind him, 0.3 of a second separating those two. Derby Bay just behind Nemvidic there has dropped off at the back of this pack a little bit. Seems to be falling out of that battle for 5th place. Mr. Basil's gapped Rednass a bit, so he'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable in that 5th place. Rednass, Horatio and Derby Bay running pretty close though, and at the moment Little Greavy still can't find a way through ahead of Bennett. Looks like those two pretty evenly matched at this point. Bennett LCFC has got more than enough pace to stay in front of Little Greavy, as Horatio's got ahead of Rednass, and Rednass has lost it. Oh, he's into the pits, that's why. Rednass is into the pits, so he is coming in now. He's obviously going to drop down the order like a stone due to that. Be interesting to see what he puts on here in terms of tyres. Looks as though the race is settling down now though. Lots of drivers have crashed out of the race, and the pack's not as concertinaed up, and as a result of that now we're seeing not too many incidents going on. No front wings going flying, no terminal damage to any of the cars. Maybe we could be set to the end of the race here. This could be it. This could be a straight run to the flag now from here on in, and if that is the case, then that will obviously benefit drivers on the hard tyres like Ultra Catfist, like Derby Bay, and probably the medium runners, those who put the mediums on recently, such as Rednass, will definitely benefit from that. But it's going to help those who are kind to their tyres at this stage in the race. If we don't have any more safety cars, it's going to really play into the hands of those on the hard tyres. Gravy Splash still on the tyres that he started the race on. I think that's his AI in the car, to be fair. Oh yeah, Derby Bay and Horatio side by side. Is he going to get this move done? He's around the outside there. Derby Bay cutting to the inside, and Horatio there braking very early, and Derby Bay getting the move done up into P6. Rightly called that one there, Game for Life. Thank you for that, mate. But Little Greavy's still pretty close on the back of Bennett. Still hasn't been able to get around him at the moment. Still 0.6 between those two. The gap at the front and Ultra Catfist has gone up a little bit. Joram's just found a bit of pace over the last couple of laps and has started to once again extend that gap. But as we know, Ultra Catfist on the hard tyres can easily go to the end of this race, whereas Joram probably will have to come in again. Unless we have another safety car in this race, he's going to have to come in and get some fresh rubber on. Mr. Basil has got himself up into 4th as Little Greavy in. So obviously we saw Horatio coming in a few moments ago as he's stopping in the box. Little Greavy and Horatio both in. Derby Bay still pretty close on the back of Mr. Basil. Still hasn't been able to find a way through definitively ahead of that Williams for the time being. Once again, we're going to see DRS open here for Derby Bay, but he's a little bit too far back coming in towards turn 6. So Little Greavy's put the hard tyres on. He didn't really need to put the hards on. He could have put the mediums on, but maybe he's... I don't know what tyres he started on, to be fair. I think he might have started on the mediums, actually. In which case he couldn't put the mediums on, because he's already done his stint on the mediums. So he'd have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So maybe he's playing it safe here, is Little Greavy. But he comes out just ahead of Rednass for the time being. So we've got Horatio just 3 seconds behind them in 12th place. Joram leads by 5 seconds at the moment ahead of Ultra Catfist. And Bennett running 8 seconds behind, obviously now running by himself with Little Greavy coming into the pits, so that's kind of just put a nail in that podium battle for now. Oh yep, Mr. Basil's keeping in behind him, isn't he? Just about. But oh, Derby Bay's really pushing him at this point. Derby Bay wants this 4th place, he wants it badly. Who's got the worst of damage? We weren't watching that on the stream at the time. Derby Bay. Oh, we see, yep, case in point there. Derby Bay losing the car out of the penultimate corner. That's going to give an Village P5. Where's Raki? Raki's coming up on the scene now and gets the position up ahead of Derby Bay up into 6th. There's Derby Bay pit and damage limitation here in this particular instance. No, he's staying out for the time being. Clearly feels that the damage isn't too debilitating for him to come in.
Greavy might go for the overtaking possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's pretty close here. And these two, well, he is ready for position because Clarky Boy, I don't know if Clarky Boy needs to come into the pits again before the end of this race. He's trying his best to keep Little Greavy behind him. Redknapp there in hot pursuit as these guys are separated by 0.6 of a second here, battling over 9th, 10th and 11th places. This really only battled out on track as Little Greavy's now looking to the inside of Clarky Boy. Clarky Boy leaves the door open, DRS wide open before Little Greavy as Clarky Boy closes the door there. Oh, good racing, hard racing from Clarky Boy. Little Greavy barged his way through up into 9th place with a bit of Robbins racing there between the two as they traded paint, and Clarky Boy loses out to both Little Greavy and Redknapp in the space of a couple of 100 metres. Those two up into 9th and 10th. Clarky Boy down to 11th has got a ratio all over the back of him, trying to get himself up into 11th place if he can, but that was aggressive from Little Greavy, but I would say on the fringes of fair, you know, it was, as we say, a bit of Robbins racing, but he's got Redknapp very close. Yeah, Clarky Boy tried to close the door. Once he saw that Little Greavy was there, he left him the space, but he did try to close the door, but you know, that's racing, and I don't think, you know, there wasn't too much damage. Yeah, Horatio. Oh, Horatio pretty close here. Coming through the final two corners. Ryan's got to get his elbows out here because Horatio's coming. Horatio on those fresh mediums as well, as we see a couple of guys into the pits. Mr. Basil and Nemvidic both pulling the trigger here. Lap 21. Are they going to put the soft tyres on and try and go to the end from here? That's the big question. I would imagine we might just about be in range for the softs to get to the end. It's 11 laps, would be a push, but it's doable. And Mr. Basil does exactly that, and so does Nemvidic. The two Williams double stacking there. Great job from the Williams pit crews, and those two are off and out once again. So soft tyres on for those boys, going to try and go to the end. Maybe a safety car could help them conserve their tyres a little bit and bring themselves into play. If there's a safety car at this point in the race, I'm sure that one of them will be in with a shout. Horatio up into 9th place there. Oh no, Clarky Boy's out of the race. He's hit the wall there. Clarky Boy, Mr. Consistent, a man who always seems to get to the flag, has crashed out here on lap 21. So what a shame there. Clarky Boy's first retirement here at Motive. And that has brought out the safety car here on lap 21 of 31. As we see there, his Ferrari teammate Gravy splashed into the pits. That will start the conspiracy theorists with Nelson Piquet Jr. But what a shame there for Clarky Boy. That is really unfortunate there for Clarky Boy, as he's now out of the races. He was having a good battle there, but Joram there in the pits as is Ultra Cavfist, and we see there Joram just appearing out on the pit box there just in front of him. Ultra Cavfist also into the box. Yeah, absolutely. As we see, I think they're all going to be putting on softs at this point. Surely Bennett is putting on the soft tyres as well. Raki coming into the pits. You know, Raki's the big winner out of all of this, because Raki's been nowhere in this race. He is. Oh my goodness! As we see Derby Bay hitting the back of Raki as he comes into the pits, and Raki gets a penalty. Raki gets a penalty for the collision. To me, I think he did stop quite abruptly, I will admit, but it's a bit of a harsh one, I've got to say. If he's recording his race, I think he might have a case there if he takes that to the stewards. I think they might have a bit of sympathy for him there. But Derby Bay there in the box getting his front wing changed. Raki jumps him in the pits due to his obviously losing his front wing.
Everyone except Raki and Peter for
yeah. Ryan says he gave him plenty of room in the comments there. That's Clarky Boy there. It's just mentioning there that he was allowing him the room to race, and that doesn't feel that he was at fault for that collision. So, but it's unfortunate to see Clarky Boy out of the race here prematurely, 10 laps from the end. He's been so good at getting to the end of the races since he started his Motive racing career here on a Friday night on the F1 in the F1 league. And obviously his best finish so far at Motive, P6 at Spa. But tonight definitely a low point for Clarky Boy. He'll be back next week, I'm sure. A track that I know he likes here tonight, so yeah, I'll be gutting for him. But yeah, we'll hopefully see Clarky Boy back stronger next time. Joram though leading under safety car at the moment. Ultra Cavis there in second spot with Bennett third. It's going to be I'd say a 7 or 8 lap dash to the flag here. So this is going to get exciting. Little Greavy on the hard tyres. It's really going to bite him on the bum being on the hards, because he is going to struggle. He's got runners on the mediums and the softs just behind him, fresh mediums and softs. Little Greavy's going to really struggle these last few laps. I'd say he might even end up out of the points at this rate. He's going to really struggle, as Racky's also on the hards. I wonder if they didn't have any tyres left, and that's why they've opted for the hard tyres. Maybe that could be the case.
Yeah,
We've got...
If it was me, I would do that for soft, because they would still be
Yeah, definitely. We got Kevy in the comments, says hi, welcome along Kevin, or Kevy, or yeah, I'm just gonna call you Kevy because that's what your name is, so obviously that's your preferred title to be referred to on the channel at the moment. Drop a like, mate, if you haven't already. Good to see you watching for the first time. Subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. If you want to get involved in the on-track action, join us at motiveracing.com. As I said before, most of the people watching this are going to be the drivers watching it back afterwards, but for those who are watching live at the moment, feel free to jump into the Discord server, https://www.discord.gg/2 lowercase w, lowercase q, uppercase c, lowercase y, lowercase w, uppercase y. If you can remember that, then you are a genius. But if not, go to www.motiveracing.com. That's an easier way of doing it, and then click the link in the top right. That'll take you to the Discord server straight away. As we see Bennett LCFC penalty there for him, yeah. So he's yeah, and if drivers are recording their races, then they can obviously put in an inquiry and get these penalties removed, because some of these penalties are a little bit harsh. So any drivers who feel like they've been hard done by the stewards, you're more than welcome to put in an inquiry, and we can get those penalties overturned if we agree, if we sympathise with your case, then you know we can sort that out. But yeah, Raki in the pits there, so he's done his drive through, he's got it done out of the way, and it's now free to unleash his pace around the Marina Bay circuit here tonight. Lap 23 of 33. Raki coming into the pits, and Gravy Splash being a little bit off the back of the pack is going to just delay the restart a little bit. But obviously with Raki not having his AI in the car, it means that Gravy Splash's AI will be forced to catch up to the pack. So Raki will hopefully be able to take this restart with everybody else, as we're coming in towards the final part of this lap at the moment. So fingers crossed we'll be able to go at the end of this lap. You know, we don't want to be spending any more time under the safety car than we have to, but you know what, I don't think we're going to be going this lap. I think we're going to have one more lap here as we're coming up towards the safety car line. Yeah, we are going to have one more lap under the safety car, which is a massive blow. Obviously we just want to get going as soon as we possibly can. We want to get some racing on here. 8 laps left to go, guys. 6 of you watching at the moment. I've said it before and I'll say it again, most of the guys watching this will be the drivers post race, but if you're enjoying the action that you're watching live on the channel right now, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. And we've got an 8 lap dash to the flag here. Joram, Ultra Catfist and Bennett LCFC all running on fresh soft tyres. It's going to be a really exciting battle to the end, so sit tight, don't go anywhere. If you want, grab yourself a snack or a coffee. We'll be about 2 minutes until the start, as all the drivers are now with the safety car train. This safety car lap will be about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. So if you want to just quickly grab a cup of tea or a coffee, run downstairs, run to the kitchen, go put the kettle on, do what you got to do, grab a snack, grab a bar of chocolate or whatever floats your boat, and we'll obviously be going at the end of this lap. Pete Bibb there saying, got to love these safety cars indeed. They are absolutely wonderful addition to the or rather feature of the Formula 1 game. Not, but you know, it's just good to have the realism. But I mean, Joram said to me in the build-up, he asked me earlier on, could I put the safety cars on a little bit more likely, so that we'd see more safety cars. He said that it was basically too difficult to bring the safety car out, which essentially is what I'm trying to do. Like, I don't want to be seeing the race becoming a total lottery. It's nice when it's pretty much based on driver skill, but a lot of the drivers wanted to see the safety cars. They wanted to see safety cars being brought out for crashes that would realistically yield the safety car. So that's obviously what we've got tonight. We've had 4 so far. Hopefully this is the last one, as Derby Bay's picked up a penalty there for speeding under the safety car. DJ Phil, Bennett and Little Greavy have all got penalties as well, but safety car's going to be in this lap. We already knew that. We could already see that one coming.
Derby Bay's got a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. But Joram here warming up his tyres, trying to get some heat into those brakes, trying to get himself ready for this restart. It'll be Joram, Ultra Cafis, Bennett, top 3, Bennett, Little Greavy just behind him. Has got hard tyres on, so he's going to be a sitting duck, I would fear, for him. Horatio in 5th with Redknapp 6th, Mr. Basil 7th, Nenvidic 8th, Derby Bay in 9th place with DJ Phil 10th, Gravy Splash and Raki in 11th and 12th. Here we go then, guys. This is it. The final 7 laps of the Singapore Grand Prix at Motive Racing on the Codemasters Formula 1 game here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform. Can Joram hold off a charging Ultra Catfist? I'd have to say Ultra Catfist has looked at times possibly a little bit quicker than Joram over the course of tonight. And we know that Bennett LCFC, when he's got the bit between his teeth, is a real fighting driver. We've seen it in XL in the Wednesday and Sunday League. He's the champion over in the OG League at XL. Let's see what he can do tonight as we see Joram leading Ultra Catfist in towards turn 1. Bennett LCFC behind, Little Greavy, Redknapp, Horatio. There's Mr. Basil, Nenvidic, Derby Bay, DJ Phil, Gravy Splash and Raki at the back of the field. But Joram leads here, and he's already pulled out a bit of a gap here over Ultra Catfist in the first couple of corners. Oh, as we saw Nenvidic having a little look to the inside of Mr. Basil there. Couldn't do anything at the moment. Still tucks in behind him for the time being. Joram leads up towards turn 6 and is keeping that gap at around 8 or 9 tenths of a second as Mr. Basil's trying to make the move here on Horatio. He drives around the outside, clean around the outside there. Mr. Basil's soft tyres versus mediums. You can clearly see the difference in grip. And Mr. Basil gets himself up into P6. No changes elsewhere elsewhere in the order at the moment, and Joram still leads, but 6 tenths of a second is now the gap. So Ultra Catfist has gained a little bit so far in this middle sector. Bennett LCFC keeping tabs with them, but having said that, a second behind at this stage in the restart probably isn't where he wanted to be. Double waved yellows through the middle sector, and then Vidic has put the double waved yellows out, and he's down to the back here, down to 12th place, so that's not gone to plan at all for Nenvidic. Raki's on the back of DJ Phil. DJ Phil's trying to pressure Derby Bay here for 8th place. Joram's got Ultra Catfist all over the back of him here, 6 tenths of a second between these two as they're starting to gap Bennett just a little bit now, but Joram and Ultra Catfist has been very close for the course of this race, and Ultra Catfist has got a penalty. Oh no! Ultra Catfist has picked up a 3-second time penalty. That could be the difference here at the end of this race. He's now not only got to get ahead of Joram to win the race, he's also got to pull out a 3-second gap. Otherwise he's not going to win this race. It's gone horribly wrong there for Ultra Catfist as they're coming out of the final corner to start lap 26. 6 to go here at Singapore. Joram still leading Ultra Catfist. Bennett there 1.4 back in 3rd place. Little Greavy in 4th. 3 seconds behind Bennett. You've got Redknapp, Mr. Basil, Horatio, Derby Bay just behind us. DJ Phil's got Raki looking to his inside, feinting to make a move there but can't get it done and tucks in behind for the time being. DJ Phil staying ahead of Raki for the time being. Gravy Splash and Nenvidic is in the pits here at the end of lap 25. So Nenvidic there making another pit stop, presumably going to try and put some fresh soft on and maybe go for the fastest lap, who knows. But Joram just ahead of Ultra Catfist, these two separated by half a second. Mr. Basil pretty close on the back of Redknapp right now. Look at that, half a second between those two as well. Derby Bay looking to try and get himself back onto Horatio if he can and get himself into 7th place. Very, very tight here between these two. He's all over him here. You can see them pretty much nose to tail as now Derby Bay's making a move on Horatio there. Beautifully done up the inside, coming into the old Singapore sling, and that is now Derby Bay up into 7th place. As Joram's pulled out just over a second of a gap here to Ultra Catfist. Sorry, mate. Cool.
Derby will probably finish 9 because of the turn quicker.
Oh, has he got a 10-second penalty? Yeah, that will definitely knock him back a little bit for sure. We've still got Raki running in 10th place at the moment. He's in half a second of DJ Phil at this point. Derby Bay still trying to get ahead of Mr. Basil, but as we've just heard there, he's got a 10-second penalty, so that will really hinder him later on in the race. Once we get to the checkered flag, it'll all unravel, and we'll see exactly what his situation is. Derby Bay though coming over the line to complete lap 26. He's got the slipstream, no DRS open yet. Oh, he's going to go for it here. Derby Bay throws it down the inside of Mr. Basil. Great move, but he can't hold it there, I don't think. Mr. Basil there just about keeping it pinned in ahead of him there. Great battle there between those two, but Mr. Basil actually relinquishes the position on the exit of the corner, so I don't know if he maybe felt that he was aggressive there, or maybe he got ordered by race control to return the position. Whatever the case, Mr. Basil down to P7 and Derby Bay gets that done, but now Mr. Basil's got DRS. Coming up towards turn 6, looking down the inside. Can he make it straight back on here? He's going to try and look around the outside of turn 7 here, but no. Once again, Derby Bay just squeezing him out. Great racing, great action here in the closing laps of this race, and Derby Bay now has got that move done up into P6. But as Game for Life pointed out there, he's got that penalty, so he'll need to try and pull out that gap and maybe get out of catchment of DJ Phil. His best hopes of a position here will probably be P8 in this race, with DJ Phil around 6 or 7 seconds behind him right now. He needs to pull out another 3 seconds to DJ Phil to be safe and to finish in that 8th place. But having said that, DJ Phil's got a penalty as well, so we'll see how that all pans out once we get to the end. Gap at the front between Joram and Aldrich Affis though, just over a second still, so that's kind of staying at around the same. Crucial though for Joram, he's got Aldrich Affis out of that DRS range, so once the rear wing feature will be open on this next lap, Aldrich Affis won't be able to make the most of it, as he's not within the catchment to be able to make it work. Very wide out of that last corner was Aldrich Affis. That would have scuffed a bit of speed off. Coming over the line here to start the 4 laps from home here, but Joram looking like he may have this under control, but it could all change very quickly. Aldrich Affis has showed he's got at least enough pace to challenge Joram. He's at least matching him around Singapore tonight. Oh, what's happened? Racky spun there. He's dropped back now behind. He's dropping back into the clutches of Gravy Splash, and Gravy Splash gets himself up into the final top 10 spot. Nemvidic, I think, is AI in the car? Maybe, I don't know. But Derby Bay having a look to the inside of Rednass. Derby Bay trying to make up positions here in the final part of this race. Obviously, he's got that penalty. He needs to really make hay while the lights are still shining on him. Horatio pretty close to the back of Mr. Basil here. Look at this, 2 tenths between these two. Can Horatio get this run down this little back straight? No, for the time being, Mr. Basil holding on to that position, as we see Joram's now got quite a sizable gap here to Aldrich Affis. So Joram's really picked it up over these last couple of laps. Maybe Aldrich Affis' soft tyres starting to feel the grading a little bit. Possibly Joram's looked after his tyres a little bit better. Not quite sure otherwise why it would be that he suddenly started to really put the hammer down compared to Aldrich. As we see Derby Bay still pretty close to the back of Rednass, only 7 tenths of a second separating these two at this point. But we see Mr. Basil here still got Horatio in pretty close contention right now, 3 tenths of a second separating those two, as Aldrich Affis has brought the gap down to Jerome a little bit over the course of this last lap or so. The gap now 1.4, it was 1.7 a moment ago, so Aldrich Affis has got some decent work done there coming through the final part of the laps slash first sector here, and Jerome's still not got this one signed and sealed just yet. Horatio's got himself ahead of Mr. Basil there, up into 7th, goes a little bit deep though coming through turn 2, but Mr. Basil's still there on the outside. Oh yeah, Rednass has lost it there, so that's given Derby Bay P5. Horatio and Mr. Basil still battling it out up towards turn 4, but Horatio just squeezing ahead there. Mr. Basil's going to get DRS though, coming down this straight, which will lead up towards turn 6. What's going to happen here, as he's going to get a lovely run coming through this part of the track, and now he's going to look to the inside, but he's a little bit too far back, and Horatio's going to have that one held in P6 for the time being. Mr. Basil not able to go with the immediate reply there. 1.6 is the gap at the front between Jerome and Aldrich Affis, so Jerome's had the better of the middle sector. Seems like the first sector and the last sector, Aldrich Affis seems to just chip away a little bit, but Jerome seems so quick through this middle sector. Every single lap he seems to be absolutely killing it through this part of the track, and Jerome looking like he's going to be able to bring this one home for the win. But anything can still happen in the final part of this race. Let's not hold our horses or jump to any conclusions at this point, as we're still not quite there yet.
Something I think we talked about it in rough, I think. It's about the corner distances. I see a lot of people here too talking like
Yeah, it's something that I think we might have to implement for next season. I think it's a difficult one to do mid-season because a lot of the drivers probably are used to a set of rules, and it can be a bit unfair when you suddenly spring it on people. I remember Silverstone this season, we upped it to strict just as a little test, and it really did go horribly wrong. I mean, literally everybody had a penalty, so you know, it really wasn't the way to go. Ultimately, but I think we could definitely implement a strict corner cutting stringency type of rule, but we'd have to announce it at the start of the season. We'd have to say to everyone, look, before the start of the season, look, this is how we're going to run it. We're going to run the corner cutting on strict, so you're not going to have any room for error type of thing. You know, make it clear before the start of the season what our plan is. But right now we got Joram leading this race. He's got a gap of almost 3 seconds here over Uldrikavvis, so he's looking like it's going to be another win here for Joram, and he's going to extend that championship gap, and it's going to have quite a massive lead coming into the final, what's going to be the final 6 races of the season. So we're coming into the business end of the season now. Season will be ending on, what is it, date's 12th of November now. So what we're going to have after tonight, we're only going to have 5 more races after tonight. 5 races left in the season, so it's very much the business end of the season. Joram's got to be within touching distance of wrapping it up surely next week. We'll have to obviously update those standings. They're a little bit out of date at the moment. I don't think they've been updated since, might even be Hungary since they've been updated. It's been about 4 or 5 rounds since they've been updated, so we'll get those championship standings updated ASAP.
I think the last one was Silverstone.
Yeah, so those championship standings are about 4 or 5 rounds out of date, so we need to get that updated ASAP. But yeah, definitely. But we've got Joram coming in towards the final half a lap here at the Marina Bay Street circuit. Joram's been on a sizzling run of form since Silverstone, really. He's been on another level. He's really stepped it up. Joram obviously joined the Motive Racing League last season. His first race, I think, was either Spain or it was Hungary. I think it might have been Hungary, you know. Hungary last season on F1 2020 here for season 1 of the Motive F1 League on a Friday on the Codemasters Formula 1 game. And he was a sort of a mid-table runner. You know, he was like sort of prominent, you know, nearish to the front, but not really there. And this season, he immediately showed that he had made improvements in the off-season. He qualified on pole at Bahrain. He then crashed out from the lead of the first race of the season, which you yourself, Game for Life, went on and took the win at. But then he took that 3-week, he went away on holiday for a bit with his dad and teammate Raki, but since then he's been an absolute revelation. Silverstone has led an absolute really absolutely purple patch here for Joram, but he comes out of the last corner and he's going to take the checkered flag here at Singapore. It's going to be another win here for Joram as he crosses over the line in the end, managed to dominate the final part of that race, pulled a gap to Uldrikavvis really impressively. Joram is the winner. The championship leader extends his gap. Uldrikavvis comes over in second place. Bennett LCFC, the champion at XL on a Wednesday and Sunday, comes over to take the final podium spot. Little Greavy crosses the line in 4th place. Derby Bay comes over in 5th there, gets a penalty as well for not serving his time penalty. As we see there, Horatio moves up into 5th with Derby Bay's penalty. Mr. Basil's going to, I think, just about hold off Redknapp here out the last one. No, Redknapp's going to mug him. Great finish there. Redknapp. Great stuff there. Oh my goodness me. Redknapp mugs Mr. Basil to P7. DJ Phil's going to come out of the last corner. It's going to be a P9 there for DJ Phil. Good drive from Phil. 2 points for his championship. Raki comes over to complete the points there in 10th place. Nemvidic a little way behind is coming out through the last couple of corners, and it's going to be a 11th place finish here for Nemvidic, off out of the points, but nonetheless a solid showing there from him. Gravy Splash completes the race in P12, and that is that then, ladies and gentlemen, for the Motive F1 League here on a Friday night, round 14 of the season here at Singapore on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Massive congratulations to Joram on taking another win. Uldrikavvis and Bennett competing the podium. Game for Life, thank you for joining me in the commentary box once again, buddy.
Yes, I have to go fast now. So
before you go, mate, I'm just going to ask, who's your driver of the day for today?
would go for DJ Fisher. He overtook, or not overtook, but he got 8 places.
Yeah, he did a good job tonight, definitely. Well, thank you, buddy. Cheers for jumping in as always. And maybe you should take up a full-time commentator spot now.
Yeah, I should do like Alonso and retire, come back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Alonso said that he wouldn't do that, but we'll have to see once that day comes. But thanks for that, mate. Really appreciate you jumping in and keeping me company. Good stuff. So, see you later. So Joe, I'm taking the win. Ultra Cathist and Bennett completing the podium. Little Greavy 4th with Horatio 5th, Dive 6th, Redna 7th, then Mr. Basil in 8th place, DJ Phil and Garaki completing the points in 9th and 10th. Nembudic, Gravy Splash, Clarky Boy and Magpie retiring from the race in 13th and 14th before the end. But a great night of action here. To everybody, also all the drivers watching this back afterwards, big thank you for obviously racing and for checking it out afterwards. Drop a like on the video, guys, if you enjoy the broadcasts that we do. Obviously we stream these races mainly for you guys so you can watch it back afterwards. If you enjoy the action, please do drop a like, share it with your friends and family, get them to have a look at it if you want. You know, it's a nice little thing that we got going here. We've obviously, you know, it's an opportunity you can get people involved and show them what you've been up to on a Friday night. So if you want to show them, share it with your friends and family. Let's get this out there if we can. Drop a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great evening. Good night.